Hello and welcome to another MR Spotlight with me, Rhaldor, and today we are taking Ellshra into battle. I have just finished building her to 99, basically, and I've been testing around with her quite a bit this week. As always, we'll take her into high-level arena and see how she performs. But before, let's quickly look at her kit. And I won't do a full review this time around, mainly because she was just released. Most players should be familiar with her kit right now if they look at MR units. So let's just quickly go over her strong points. Now, she is a Time Mage main job, which means that she has access to Quicken, and then Meteor, Comet, and Stop in her main job, which I would say are the most prevalent things. But her main role as a Time Mage is to be an enabler, and no matter what subjobs you set, she has access to Quicken, so she can be used to enable your team comps to act in the way you set them to. So that is very strong. Then she, with her Master ability that gives her 15 accuracy, and then one of the Rune Knight passives, she can have plus 40 accuracy. So that makes her a very accurate character from the get-go. She can be built to have very, very high accuracy and then fight evasion teams. She provides light affinity, making light allies hit harder and then be tankier. And although that affects her as well, the be tankier part does not. She is extremely squishy. Then, depending on the subjob you set, she can have haste and a couple other supportive aspects in the Time Mage job, but I would say really her other subjobs are so good that I don't see much use for the Time Mage one. So she can be as a Rune Knight, which gives her access to insanely powerful attacks that will honestly be UR level. I've seen her take out Kains in one hit, or at least it would take out Kain in one hit if he did not have courage. And then she also has very impressive healing in her White Mage subjob. Now, if you want to know more about Ellshra and her kit, I will link in the description Mysidia Gaming's review of her, because it was very complete, and I think you should take a look at it. And then today in Arena, we will be running Ellshra as a Rune Knight. And the reason for that is we have other MR units that have Time Mage and then healing. And we have other units that have that kind of kit, but we don't have any MR unit with the Rune Knight subjob. So that's what I think is really the more unique about Ellshra, and that's what I want to showcase. So if you want to take a look at Ellshra in other subjobs, White Mage, Time Mage, and then a little bit of Rune Knight, I will link in the description a video by A Magic Joe, and she showcases her in all those different setups. So you can take a look at how much healing she can do and how much support she provides as a Time Mage. But for now, let's go into Arena, and yeah, that's it. Okay, so the first thing I want to showcase is the power of Quicken, because it's a tool she has no matter her subjob, and it's an incredible tool. If you've watched some other of my videos, you know I love to use it a lot to move the right unit forward or whatever setup I feel I need in my team comps. So what we'll be doing today is using Nivlu and Ellshra as Quickener, making Frederica go multiple times before the enemy is in range, so we can kill all of them. So that's the plan. We will be showcasing that. I'll just very quickly go over the stats here because I want the video to focus more on the gameplay than the loadouts. For Ellshra though, the abilities that are on and off, I will quickly go over them. And you can tell I've turned off Comet because she often uses Comet instead of instant drain evocation for a finisher, allowing the enemy to have an extra turn. So Comet is a risky move to have. And then in her other job, we have everything on, because honestly, her AI is pretty good as is. If she gets in range of the enemy, she gets killed, but if she's the one attacking, she does a ton of damage, especially if she gets in range for a hazard slash. And then we have Nivlu, And Nivlu, her only time mage ability that she has enabled is Quicken, and then all of her sniper abilities are on because they are all very good. So this is the setup we're running. Let's find a match and see it in action. Okay, so we have our matchup. They're going to be healing, doing magic damage, and taking aggro. It's not a matchup that's insanely strong against Missile, so we should be able to take someone out before they get in our range. And that's really what we want to do. So here, the first thing that I want to show is how Ellshra's AI works when she supports. So a lot of time mages or units will like to move forward after they've begun casting, and she does that. So in the Steam, I was forced to make sure Frederica would move away from Ellshra, and Ellshra had to run after Frederica. Otherwise, if Ellshra moved first, she would cast Quicken and then move forward, and that would lead to her dying before her spell is cast. But this way, she's still in the back, and we've just got 2 Quickens off on Frederica back to back, meaning that 2 of their members are dead, and they haven't even had a turn to do anything, really. And the funny thing about this combo is it's not limited. We don't have to do that only once. So now Rain comes back, but he still has a missile chain on top of his head. So he just gets hit again and again with several missile attacks. Now we end up running out of AP, so he's not dead, but I think it's a good way to show how if you time your unit's agility properly and prepare for the use of Quicken, and you test your team to make sure that you use it right, it is an incredibly potent tool. So yeah, that's the first thing Ellshra provides. Now, against Rain, if she gets to hit him, we should not see incredible amounts of damage because he has a high spirit. And though she does have some spirit penetration, he's still a very resistant character. So now we're starting to hit him, he will get to cast, but see, 1400 on Rain is very decent. It's very good, actually, with a magic attack. So we've seen Ellshra enable our units to attack and attack and attack and attack again. And then when the enemy gets close, well, she hits them for a very decent amount of damage. If she needed more, she would have moved forward and used her Hazard Slash, but as it turns out, that was not necessary to take out Rain. So that was it for the Quicken showcase. Let's change our team around and show something a little bit less one-sided. Alright, so this is the team we'll be running for the rest of the video, and we're using Ellshra, Cecil, and Kilphe. And the reason for that is Cecil benefits from Ellshra's master ability, and he's there to put a shield on Ellshra, who's very squishy, and he'll also put one on Kilphe because why not? That means she gets to cast other things. We're using him as a monk, and really, I don't want to dwell on Cecil too much here. What I do want to show is that we're running Kilphe with White Mage because of the 100% hit ability, because we'll also be tackling Evasion teams and seeing how we can fight those. Kilphe is very tanky, but our team does not have a mean of generating a hate, so Ellshra will stay alive thanks to Cecil's buff and her staying backwards, otherwise she will die. And we'll be switching between the Alexandrite Ring and the Luminous Armlet, depending on whether we want more damage or more accuracy. So let's get to battle. So this time we're going to be facing Ayaka, Engelbert, and Rhaldor, and we want to see, we want to put a setup where Ellshra can actually do damage and potentially survive. So we are giving her a little bit more survivability with Cecil, and then Kilphe will just be our tank. So the way this should work out is, since our enemy are not characters that are that impressive in terms of their tankiness, we should have a pretty good go at fighting them. And I would say this is a better setup for using Ellshra offensively because she can be hidden behind the other tankier members of our team. So we have a Protect on Kilphe that she's going to cast because she does not have to cast anything else. And now she hits for 2.6k. This seems to be the standard for the first Drain Evocation. The second time around, her attacks does a lot more. And she will live long enough to use it twice normally. So we see Rhaldor, oh, he's using his Limit Break. Now he might be able to one-shot her through Cecil's barrier. Okay, so he was not, but still very close. He hit for almost her entire HP, so you can imagine, had she not been protected, she would just have been one shot. Now she goes to Engelbert and hits him for 4.4k. And again, that's just Drain Evocation. It's not her high modifier attacks. So he's popped his Courage. And now Rhaldor is going after Kilphe. She's tanking because that is what she does. And Engelbert goes down. And now we should see Ellshra attack again. But this time Hazard Slash for 5,000 damage. That's a lot. It's actually more than what Kilphe usually does. Engelbert comes back. We start pummeling him a little bit again. And Ellshra begins casting. I'm thinking that must be a meteor. There we go. So she did not need Hazard Slash, or I think she could not cast Hazard Slash without hitting one of our allies there. So that's why she went for that. And I want to point out that her non-elemental abilities, like Meteor, do a lot less because she has so much light attack up. It's a major disadvantage if she's casting something else. I left Meteor on because in some scenarios that's the only way she can attack, just like we saw here, but it's not her, her strongest suit. Now she's using Shiva. She only has 25 action point left, so I wonder if she's using Shiva because she can't use Hazard Slash, or just because it kills the enemy. There we go. I think that was a pretty good showcase of how much damage we can get out of Ellshra in the right setup. Okay, so this time we're fighting Evasion with two very evady unit and Sakura. So I changed the Luminous Armlet for the Alexandrite Ring on Ellshra, and we'll see if that's enough coupled with her innate accuracy to actually land hits on the enemy. We also have Holy from Kilphe as another option, but I think it's a good way to try out her accuracy and see whether it's sufficient or not. So she begins with the Quicken very early on, and then Cecil will most likely just die from that because he sacrificed some HP to put a barrier on our allies. No, okay, he can take it. He's a strong boy. So now we have a very tanky Kilphe up front, and we begin hitting 2.8 on Sakura. But I don't like that because Sakura's in range to hit Ellshra again, and that is quite likely to be a kill. Now, note, we did not miss the enemy Sakura, so we hit her on the first try there, so that's good. We hit Lasswell again. No damage though because of his own protection. And then he renews Mirage. So it will be very tough to take him out. So we use Holy on Ruin's turn, take him out. That's very good. And then, yeah, that's unfortunate. The reason why Ellshra did that was because no matter what happened, she could not do any kind of decent damage on him, so she did the move that cost the less AP, the basic attack, which got her close to him. Now, again, she lands another hit. She didn't miss a single one against a team with maxed out evasion gear. They did not get to cast their evasion buffs, but that's still rather impressive in my book for a unit that does not have guaranteed hit abilities. And how could we end it by not fighting Kain? And I picked a team that's very scary in my perspective. Their Halloween Little Leela has access to the auto revive. Kain will be just rushing towards us, and we don't have any kind of hate generation to guarantee that that Kilphe's taking the hits. It's really just a matter of positioning on our team. So the second they start hitting Ellshra, she's just going to die. So let's see how that goes. Perhaps Devoted Defense will help us against one of Kain's attack, but I'm not sure because he has so much damage that I think he can hit Ellshra for just over double her HP normally. So we have Kilphe in front, and I don't think Kain can reach Ellshra right now. So that should be good. So she's staying behind, casting another Quicken. Alright, perfect. So Kain moves in range, gets hit by Cecil once. Then Cecil's going to take an extra turn and do the exact same thing, unless he doesn't have any more AP. Which very well might be the case. We'll see. Yeah, so he begins touring, remains in range. And then Kilphe is obviously very weak to Halloween Little Leela. It's part of the reason why I wasn't certain about this matchup. But we just had to try it. I also want to see how much damage Ellshra can do to Kain, because it's one of her distinctive things. I've used her in the class match in the current season, and she keeps hitting Kain for 5,000 points of damage. So, in my book, that's pretty impressive. So now there she goes, Hazard Slash, hits Kain for 4,000 because she did not buff her offense. She didn't have time for that this time around. Now, they can heal, that's fine. Rhaldor comes back, shifting strikes on top of us. And then with Hazard Slash, we would kill them both. Now, Courage, very powerful. She dies. But I think if you can find ways to keep her safe, she can definitely win us battles. And had Kilphe not died Halloween Little Leela, this would have possibly looked very good. Okay, so we've seen Ellshra do Quicken, and to great extent. We've seen her deal insane damage, but we've also seen her go down in one hit. So, my verdict for her is if you can fine-tune your team, your starting buffs and spells, and make sure that they execute a very strong plan, she's a great unit, because she has Quicken, and then she can also punish an enemy that overextends. But trying to force her on the offense as one of your carries is a weak move, because in the game right now, there are a lot of carries that can take 1 or 2 hits, like Kain, before dying. And she doesn't compare to them. She does in terms of damage, but she dies in 1. So I think she's a great unit to stay in the back, quicken your other guys, and then when the enemy gets close to your other guys, she can kind of poke them for very surprising amounts of damage. But trying to put her up front will just lead to her dying. Now, in manual play, she is incredible. I've been using her in class matches right now, and I just love the fact that it's a unit that can come out of nowhere and just hit so hard, and then still provide all the utility of having Quicken her kit. So that's it. She can also fight Evasion pretty well. So now that's really it. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more of those videos, please like and subscribe. It will make it more likely that they show up in your feed in the future. And then thanks for your time and have a great rest of your day.